It was a day like any other when the annual office retreat was scheduled, a time meant for team-building exercises and bonding over trust falls gone wrong. The company had chosen a quaint little cabin in the woods, far away from the distractions of emails and ringing phones. The air was crisp and the sun filtered through the trees, but little did they know, a storm of hilarity was about to unfold. The team consisted of 5 members: Tom, the no-nonsense manager; Sarah, the overly enthusiastic HR representative; Mike, the resident prankster; Lisa, the meticulous planner; and Ben, the quiet accountant who had a penchant for awkward situations. As they gathered in the living room for their first team-building exercise, they were blissfully unaware of the comedic chaos that awaited them. The first activity was a simple trust fall, but with a twist. Instead of catching each other, they were instructed to catch a large inflatable dinosaur. The sight of the bright green T-Rex, with its goofy grin and oversized limbs, was enough to make even the most serious among them crack a smile. Tom, determined to maintain his authoritative demeanor, cleared his throat and declared, "We are professionals. This is about trust and teamwork." As Sarah volunteered to go first, she climbed onto a rickety chair, her excitement palpable. "I trust you guys," she shouted as she leaned back. The team positioned themselves awkwardly, their faces a mix of concentration and barely contained laughter. Just as Sarah began her descent, Mike, unable to resist the urge, gave the inflatable dinosaur a gentle nudge. It rolled away, sending Sarah tumbling onto the soft carpet, instead of the intended inflatable. The room erupted in gasps, but everyone quickly turned their faces away, desperately trying to suppress their laughter. Tom's face turned a shade of red, and he gritted his teeth, muttering, "Focus, everyone!" Next came the scavenger hunt, which was meant to encourage teamwork and communication. Each team was given a list of absurd items to find: a feather from a bird, a stick shaped like a letter Z, and, oddly enough, a pair of mismatched socks. As they spread out into the woods, the absurdity of the task began to sink in. Lisa was determined to find the feather, while Mike, ever the jokester, decided to hide behind a tree and mimic bird calls, hoping to lure a bird closer. "Mike, stop it!" Lisa hissed, her voice strained as she tried to maintain her focus. "This is serious!" But the more she insisted on seriousness, the more ridiculous Mike became, flapping his arms and squawking like a chicken. Ben, who had been quietly searching for the socks, stumbled upon Mike's antics and couldn't help but snort. The sound escaped him before he could catch it, and Tom shot him a glare as if to say, "You too?" After what felt like an eternity of searching, the team reconvened, exhausted but still trying to uphold their serious demeanor. They presented their findings, each item more absurd than the last. Sarah held up a twig that vaguely resembled a zed, while Tom produced what he claimed was a feather, but was clearly a piece of fluff from his jacket. The tension was palpable as they tried to keep straight faces, but as Mike pulled out a sock he had found on the ground, he declared, "Mismatched, just like our teamwork." Finally, it was time for the last activity, a group discussion on what they had learned. As they sat in a circle, the atmosphere was thick with unspoken laughter. Tom began, his voice steady. Today was about trust and collaboration. But before he could finish, Mike interjected, "And about how not to catch a dinosaur." That was it. The dam broke. Laughter erupted, filling the room with a sense of relief and camaraderie. The seriousness they had tried so hard to maintain vanished, replaced by a shared understanding that sometimes the best moments come from embracing the chaos. As they laughed together, they realized that the absurdity of the day had brought them closer, and perhaps that was the real lesson of the retreat.